And Ms. Hansover, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Fort Lee Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on January 15th, 2021, and posted on the district website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet newspaper, The Record, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised that this meeting is being taped and may be broadcasted on local TV and the district's website at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines meetings as any gathering, whether corporal or by means of communication equipment, which is attended by or open to all of the members of a public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as a unit upon the specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Ms. Cho? Ms. Curry?
Here.
Ms. Hansover?
Here.
Ms. Morrell? Ms. Richter?
Here.
Ms. Rombo?
Here.
Mr. Rubino?
Here.
Ms. Stassen?
Here.
Ms. Kovac? We have quorum.
The board will be convening to executive session to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. The board will reconvene into public session at approximately 7:30 p.m. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion Morrell, second Hansover. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Hansover, will you lead us in the pledge?
The last time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Fort Lee Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on January 15th, 2021, and posted on the district website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet newspaper, The Record, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised that this meeting is being taped and may be broadcasted on local TV and on the district's website at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines meeting as any gathering, whether corporal or by means of communication equipment, which is attended by or open to all members of the public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as a unit upon the specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Ms. Cho? Here. Ms. Curry?
Here.
Ms. Hansover?
Here.
Ms. Morrell?
Here.
Ms. Richter?
Here.
Ms. Rombo?
Here.
Mr. Rubino?
Here.
Ms. Stassen?
Here.
Ms. Kovac? Here.
Here.
Ms. Kovac. Thank you. We have quorum.
The board convened executive session at 6:30 p.m. today to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. Mr. Kravitz, will you begin by sharing the superintendent's report?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out this evening, and those who are online, thank you for joining us. We have a few things to talk about. Most importantly, I think our district testing results, but before we begin, I'm obligated to share our self-assessment scores for our HIV. Every year, the school district conducts a self-assessment, and the state looks at all of that information and then readjusts that number. This year, our Fort Lee High School got a 72 out of 78. Lewis F. Cole Middle School is 70 out of 78. School 1 is 72, School 2 is 71, School 3 is 70, and School 4 is 71. Those scores are generated by the number of activities that are present to reduce the number of HIBs, character education. So when assemblies are listed, those things are documented and we get a score, a self-evaluation score of those. Number of HIB cases, our reporting timelines. So again, every HIB specialist has an opportunity to look at all of the data, submit the information, and those are our scores that we submit to the state, and then we will receive a confirmation with any adjustments. As far as district testing, which I'm really looking forward to, I have two wonderful people, actually three, Ms. Baker, Ms. Karuba, and Ms. Monique Kim, who did a fantastic job as we put together a whole presentation on our academic scores, and I'd like to share that with everyone tonight. So every one of us has a part. We may jump in on to each other's presentation as we talk about it, but I want to thank them very much publicly. They did a fantastic job. Ms. Karuba is first, who's the Director of Counseling.
It's just, that's on slide number 3 right now.
Jason, can you go back to slide 1? There you go. Slide 1. Thank you. Ms. Karuba.
Okay. The New Jersey Department of Education canceled the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, also known as the NJSLA, in English, Math, and Science in the spring of 2020 and the spring of 2021. That data is normally presented in this presentation every year, so that's why it will not be discussed tonight, because we did not have it. The next slide depicts our 4-year graduation cohort amongst the last 4 years. As you can see, our scores are pretty consistent, and we have about 99% of our students graduating high school within 4 years. In order for students to graduate high school, they must pass an assessment in both math and ELA. And this slide depicts the percentage of students that passed using the NJSLA and ELA. You'll see that it's 70%. Versus an alternative assessment, which includes an SAT, a PSAT, an ACT, an ASVAB, or an AccuPlacer. And then we do have a small percentage of our students that are exempt via an IEP. You'll also see the same set of numbers for mathematics, and we had 58% graduate using NJSLA, 33% using an alternative assessment such as the SAT, PSAT, ACT, and ASVAB, or AccuPlacer, and 9% that were exempt via an IEP. And the class of 2020, our numbers were pretty consistent as well, and we had 228 students graduated versus 256 in 2021. Here you're going to see a 4-year comparison of our AP scores. On the right-hand side, before the slash, that is the number of students that sat for that particular exam, and then the score next to it is the average score. So the APs, when you take an AP assessment, you can score 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. Anything above a 3 is considered proficient, and that is really what the colleges look for in awarding credit, awarding credit to the course. Where you see an asterisk, that indicates that Fort Lee High School's scores were above the national and state average. As you know, last year there is a slight decrease in some of our scores, and that really is due to the fact that we were in virtual instruction for the entire year, and the assessment was given completely virtual and online. And not only was that new for our students, but that was new for College Board. They had never given the assessment in that format before.
Here you'll see a very similar comparison to that of the AP scores, but these are our international baccalaureate scores. These scores range from a 1 to 5, a 1 to 7. Anything above a 4 is considered proficient. In all of our areas, you can see that we did grow, especially in almost all, in English, history, math, film, and in Spanish. And here, if a student scores a 4 or above, these colleges will accept the course for credit. Here's a 3-year comparison of our SAT scores. You can see that we did go up in verbal as well as mathematics. Our average was a 656 in verbal and a 623 in math, compared to the high 500s in years prior.
You said that was average.
If we have questions, you want to do it now? Well, I'd rather wait till the end and you just write down your
Said that
questions.
one question.
That way we can have it, because we might be answering some of that.
And those are average scores, is that what
Yes.
you said? Yeah, average scores. And this slide depicts our average ACT scores. Verbal was a 27.3, and that's a 27.3, and math at 25.9. And these were also increases from 2019 to 2021. The WIDA Access Assessment is given to all students in grades K through 12 who have been identified as English language learners. The WIDA assessment assesses the 4 language domains of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Students and parents are provided with a score report that shares how the student performed in each domain and provides a WIDA language proficiency level that ranges from 1 to 6. The next 2 charts on the next 2 slides show the percentage of students who reached a proficient score of 4, 5, or 6 in the years 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2021. It is worthwhile to mention that standard scores were recalibrated during the 2017 assessment. The 2015-16 school year was the first year that this test was given in an online format. However, in year 2 of testing, was used as a standard setting year. Additionally, the WIDA assessment was not completed in the spring of 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. WIDA also noted that although the standard setting resulted in fewer students meeting levels 4 through 6, they feel that changes were necessary to ensure that students receive the services they need to meet the requirements of college and career-ready standards. Those are our K to 6 scores, and the second slide is the same comparison, but using delineating between grades 7 through 12. So this slide, we changed gears a little bit to our Start Strong testing. This was the first year that all New Jersey schools were required to give the Start Strong assessment in ELA, math, and science, and it was given this year in October. Essentially, we could look at these as being mini NJSLAs. Instead of being 3 units in each subject, it was 1 small 1-hour unit in each subject. This slide will depict our ELA scores by grade level, and it gives us the percentage of students that required less support, the percentage of students that required some support, and the percentage of students that required strong support. Here is a comparison of our NJSLA data. Here you're going to see snapshots of students scoring between level 1 and 5 from the year 2017 to the year 2020.
So, Ms. Kim, if you want to talk about the correlation, level 5 and level 4 would be, go back that one slide, to be less support needed. So if you were to take the level 5, let's say 2019, you would add the 11% plus level 4 is 56%. If you go back to the 2 slides, 11% is level 5. The 56% level 4 in 3rd grade, as an example, that would, or if we take 42 and 40 would be 82%, and we're seeing 58%, correct? Yes, okay. Level 3 would be some support may be needed, and then the strong support would be the last two categories. Is that right?
And that's 40, so there's 48% who need strong support in grade 6. Is that what we're looking at?
So you're in you start strong ELA, you're looking at 39% of those students would be categories 1, 2, 3 in the NJSLA comparison. We're going to do some comparisons in a few minutes with some graphs that will show it a little more clearly. But I wanted to tell you why we should do that. Just for a little bit of math.
Okay. So here is our Start Strong testing data for math grades 4 and 8. And again, you're going to see everything delineated by grade level on the left-hand column, and then the percentage of students within that grade level that scored within that less support needed, some support needed, and strong support needed. Our next slide is our math grades 7 through 12. On this slide, it's just a little bit different because some of the courses are offered both at the high school and at the middle school, so we wanted to separate that out a little bit for you to see. And again, it just gives us the percentage of students who needed less support, some support, and strong support. And here you're going to see it broken down by subject, not grade level, because we can have students in grades 9 through 11 that are taking any one of these particular math courses. Now this slide is the same slide as we just showed two back, and this gives us the percentage of, and this kind of allows us to compare our Start Strong scores against our NJSLA data from the years 2017, 18, and 19, and the percentage of students we had scoring at every level. And like Mr. Kravitz said, Mrs. Kim in a few minutes is going to really break that down and compare the percentage of students that needed all three, strong support and some support against our NJSLA numbers, so that you could see that we really are still falling within the same categories post-pandemic as we were pre-pandemic. The next slide, this is our Start Strong data for grades 6, 9, and 12. Science is a little bit different than ELA and math. The state only gave it to students in these 3 grade levels, and you'll see the percentage of students per grade that fell within less support, some support, and strong support. The next few slides are going to display our subgroups of students. So for example, this slide will give us the percentage of students that are economically disadvantaged and how they scored for ELA, for math, and for science. So for example, the light blue is strong support, the medium blue is some support, and the dark blue is our less support. This slide depicts our students with disabilities and how they scored on Start Strong for ELA, for math, and science. And again, this is the subgroup as a whole, so you're going to see the kids from all grade levels falling into these categories. Here you'll find our English language learners and how they scored on the ELA, math, and science Start Strong assessment. Our Hispanic subgroup and how they scored. Our white subgroup. Our African American subgroup. Our Asian subgroup. Our female subgroup. And our male subgroup. Ms. Kim? At this time, I'm going to introduce Ms. Kim.
Although the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, also known as NJSLA, was not given in the 2019 to 2020 and 2020 to 2021 school years due to the pandemic, we've continued to collect student data in reading and math using the STAR 360 program, which is our internal benchmark assessment program aligned to the New Jersey Student Learning Standards. Although STAR 360 and NJSLA are 2 different assessments, we still use these two data points along with the Start Strong scores to compare the trends in our students' learning progress. The following six slides provide a snapshot of students' longitudinal data from 2017 to 2021 so that we can view the scores of the same cohort of students over several years. Only the scores from the students in grades 4 to 10 were used in order to be consistent with the Start Strong and NJSLA assessments. This slide shows how in the English Language Arts category, the same cohort of students have scored at or above their grade level expectations in STAR 360, level 4 and 5 in NJSLA, and need less support in the Start Strong assessment. Using grade 8 as an example to further explain the data shown here, the students who are currently in 8th grade, back in 2017 to 2018, when they were in 4th grade, 75% of the cohort achieved at or above score in the STAR 360 ELA assessment. When the same students took the STAR 360 again as 5th graders in 2018 to 2019, 69% of them placed at or above. During 2019 to 2020, when these same students were in 6th grade, 67% of the students scored at or above. Last year, in 2020 to 2021 school year, the current 8th graders achieved 57% as 7th graders. And finally, back in October of this year, 55% of our 8th graders scored at or above in STAR 360. Going across the corresponding row in NJSLA for the current 8th graders, their 3rd grade ELA score in 2016 to 2017, NJSLA was 70% passing or achieving either level 4 or 5. When these same students took the NJSLA in 4th grade in 2017 to 2018, 80% of them achieved level 4 and 5. As 5th graders in 2018 to 2019, 76% of the current 8th graders passed the NJSLA in English Language Arts. Then we did not have any state assessments for 2 years in 2020 and 2021. Then in the beginning of this school year, the current 8th graders achieved 61% in the Start Strong assessment.
So just as a point of information, so that, again, the STAR 360 is what we're using as a predictor. So when we're predicting in the beginning of the year that 55% of the students are at or above, Start Strong, the state assessment is coming in at 61%. So we're trying to make that correlation as we start to dig deeper into each individual student. That's what we're
One
seeing.
thing I believe, like, didn't we, or like the 7th graders, weren't they tested on last year's work this year?
They were tested on last
So
year.
don't we need to know that in this?
So the STAR 360, if you're not familiar with it, is an adaptive test. So as you're taking the test, if you're above the level, it will continue to rise. If you're below the level, it will bring it down. Unlike Start Strong, which tells you that this is the grade level you're supposed to be at. So these are the ones who are at or above where they're supposed to be. So if we're seeing that 55% of the 8th graders we're predicting are at 8th grade work, state assessment is saying they're finished 7th grade work at 61%.
So since the pandemic, we've seen it go down.
We've seen a little bit of a drop between the two, but not as, it's only 6% difference of 7th grade work versus 8th grade proficiency. End of 7th grade, early 8th grade. Because the STAR adapts to each month that you take it. So when they get that assessment in October, it's counting as an 8th grade second month. And they get that in that form.
This slide shows the longitudinal view of the students who were placed in the on-watch category in the English Language Arts portion of the STAR 360 assessment, level 3 in the NJSLA, and need some support in the Start Strong assessments.
I think this is our key group that we were looking at as we're looking at the real data. Because this is the group that is the marginal group that will flip up to our proficiency in that 4 and 5 or NJSLA in the top 2 categories. So this is the group that we will be focusing a lot of our extra work on, because they will help us move from that 55, 60% to hopefully 80, 90%. That's our goal.
Next, this slide shows the longitudinal data of the students who need intervention or urgent intervention, as well as strong support in ELA according to the STAR 360, NJSLA, and STAR Strong assessments.
The immediate remediation. This is really the strength. So if we had to target our groups, this is the one that needs the most work. The second, the slide before, is the one that we're trying to move to the proficiency level or above. And then the top, that's our students who are performing at grade level or above.
The next 3 slides show the math scores. This slide shows the longitudinal data in the math for the same students who were placed in at or above category in STAR 360, level 4 and 5 in the NJSLA, and need less support in the STAR Strong assessments.
Significantly STAR Strong, we're seeing the mathematics, and Mr. Rubino's point, that's where we're seeing that significant drop.
Is that saying that 52% need, need less, right?
Saying in 8th grade algebra 1, 75% are not hitting the standards that they're supposed to be.
That's what it said.
That's what it says. 25% are there, 75% are not there.
This slide shows the percentage of the same students who were placed in the on-watch category in the STAR 360, level 3 in the NJSLA, and need some support in the STAR Strong assessments in that. Finally, this slide shows the longitudinal data of the students who need intervention or urgent intervention, as well as strong support in math, according to the STAR 360, NJSLA, and STAR Strong assessments.
So that's that 54% that are in desperate need of assistance to move them. That's the lowest group. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to now transition to talking about our curriculum development and instructional process and projects for the school year. And I just want to point out that in January, we'll be continuing to talk about our action plan on how to address the data that was presented tonight. We have actually spent the last 2 to 3 weeks preparing all of that data, all of the longitudinal data, pretty much manually by Ms. Kim. So this is really going to just give you a short overview, but there is more to come in the future. So we rely on multiple data points to drive our curriculum development and instructional programming. First and foremost, it's important to know that we are required to develop curriculum that is aligned to the New Jersey Student Learning Standards, which are revised every 5 years in all subject areas by the Department of Education. Student grades and scores from assessments, including the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, the STAR 360, Fountas and Pinnell Benchmark Assessment, 8B, IB scores, all help us identify specific skills that require improvement. We also evaluate feedback we receive from parents, teachers, and administrators, as well as recommendations from all of the district curriculum committees we formed during our curriculum revision process. And of course, decisions are also driven by budget and staffing, and each year we prioritize those needs. So we are required to develop a curriculum revision process. Our process is actually a 5-year cycle, but it occurs over the course of 4 phases, simply because it's very easy for one of these phases to occur over the course of 2 years. Phase 1 and 2 typically involve evaluating our existing curriculum and developing or writing the new curriculum. Phase 3 is usually the implementation phase, and phase 4 involves monitoring the impact the new curriculum has on student learning. And very often, it's phase 4 and phase 3 that we typically may spend more time working on. During our curriculum development process, we form a committee to include teachers and administrators, particularly teachers who actually teach the courses for the curriculum they're writing. and the curriculum committee works through each of these phases. Here's just a small snapshot of what our 5-year curriculum cycle looks like, and this information is also available on our website. As I stated earlier, one factor that often drives curriculum decisions is the adoption of new standards by the State Department of Education. In 2020, the state adopted new standards in career readiness, health and physical education, computer science, science, social studies, visual and performing arts, and world languages. So this school year, we are currently in the process of revising many of our content area curricula in order to implement all of these new standards, which is required for the 2022-2023 school year. We will also continue to monitor curriculum and instructional programs for their effectiveness in the remaining content areas and make improvements as needed. For example, currently, the middle and high school English departments have been working on revising their curriculum to include thematic units. We're also taking a closer look at and enhancing our K-6 STEAM activities. And we're also looking at our grade 5 through 8 scope and sequence and social studies to ensure that they align to the new standards. We're researching social studies resources as well. The district also prioritizes professional development to support all of these initiatives, as it's essential to support ongoing improvement in student learning. Each year, the district offers staff opportunities to receive professional development to enhance all facets of student learning. This year, so far, the district has offered professional development in the areas of elementary literacy, sheltered English instruction, which is an effective methodology for adapting material for English language learners, and how to use components of IXL, a supplemental program that we have implemented for math, language arts, science, and social studies. We are also going to provide professional development and instructional resources to staff focused on social emotional learning and student mental health. We provide students with a variety of options for instructional support during the school day. I do want to point out that when we think about intervention, sometimes we first think about an additional program outside of the classroom, but intervention actually happens in the classroom first with the primary teacher through differentiated instruction. Teachers provide individualized or small group instruction during lessons as needed. We also use instructional technology to support students' various learning styles. Our Chromebook initiative has enabled teachers to communicate with students individually and foster collaboration between and among students. Programs such as IXL and LightSail enable teachers to assign students with additional skill practice matched to their ability levels. And this slide also shows the number of support programs we offer across the K-12 curriculum, such as our ESL programs, our Smart Readers programs, which is for primary literacy, basic skills instruction, our Title I programs that are occurred during the school day, our Essentials Reading course, our strategy courses at the high school for both English and math, as well as our Gifted Honors AP and IB programs and our special education programs, and extra help is offered as needed. There's a lot more information. If you want access to any of our curriculum documents, they are all available online. You just have to go to our website. You may click on curriculum and instruction, click on curriculum documents, and that will take you to our customized curriculum site. And I thought it would be important to end on a high note with all of the notable achievements that our schools have accomplished thus far. I have to be honest, I couldn't fit them all on one slide. It was very difficult to pick and choose. So I'm sure I may hear some news tomorrow about why I didn't include certain things. But I just wanted to read through them because they're actually quite impressive. Fort Lee High School, the counseling department raised over $110,000 in scholarships that were distributed to the class of 2021. The class of 2021 earned acceptances to West Point, Georgetown, Villanova, NYU, California Tech, UNC at Chapel Hill, George Washington University, and many more. We might be here until tomorrow if I keep going, so I'll just move on to number 4. 4 Fort Lee High School students were named National Merit Scholars semifinalists from the class of 2021. And currently, the class of 2022, my apologies, that's what that slide should say, has 3 Ivy League acceptances in December. The Fort Lee High School Marching Band won the 2021 Tournament of Bands Group 4 Atlantic Coast Championship. Go band! This group included bands from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia. The Fort Lee High School Marching Band will also be representing the state of New Jersey in the 2022 National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. This is a huge accomplishment. They were supposed to do this in 2020, but due to the pandemic, it has been postponed to this year. Fort Lee High School was accepted into the New Jersey All-State Orchestra for violin. 2 Fort Lee High School students in the orchestra also won first prize in the KRB New York International Music Competition. Moving on to athletics, we earned 11 league championships. Fort Lee High School won the Lou Molino All Sports banner for the Big North Conference American Division and the NJSIAA Sportsmanship Award. 2 Fort Lee High School athletes won the title of Bergen Record Athlete of the Week. The middle school SAD Club, led by Ms. Stephanie Panagian, held a Thanksgiving food drive, which led to the collection of over 300 non-perishable food items for a local food bank. 8 pieces of artwork created by our Lewis F. Cole Middle School students have been selected as finalists by the Us vs. Hate National Project and will advance to the next round in their national poster contest. In the spring, the middle school will perform their first ever 2-act musical, which is being sponsored by the PTO and directed by Manametra. And this afternoon, we just learned that the Lewis F. Cole Middle School's Intermedia 2020-2021 magazine is the recipient of its 10th Crown Award. Our middle school was one of only 2 middle school arts and literacy magazines to receive a Crown Award in 2021 from over 850 entries. Nina Anderson, Priscilla Yoon, and Shannon Savasco, middle school teachers, serve as current advisors to Intermedia. I want to thank you for your time and listening to our presentation and for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are any questions.
Actually, I have a few questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Thank you so much. I mean, that must have taken a lot of time to put together, and it was a lot of information to digest. Being as transient as Fort Lee is there a way to know what percentage of each grade are new students, perhaps from a different district that came in, or students that left at all? Because even though we're comparing one grade as they're going throughout high school, I don't know that the student body itself is the actual same student body.
So, do you want to go?
So I'm not sure about the Start Strong data, but I can tell you I'm sorry, I'm not sure about STAR, but the way the Start Strong data would work, we would have to look at each individual student, go into their Genesis account, look at the years that they were there. It doesn't break it down that way. We would individually have to look at every single student in the district and track them.
So one of the things we are looking at is trying to get more analytics available to us. So that kind of answer, that would be the answer to your question. We want to track attendance data with their scores. We can look at a number of times they've been in the office, number of in the nurse, all of those things we want to start to put into get from our student information system. And as you can see, Ms. Kim did a lot of work in this a little bit, but we got a lot more data, including when we talk about interventions, whether or not they're working, those type of things. We're looking into programs that can give us more analytical data. We can delve really into the ideal goal would be as a teacher walks into a classroom in September, they will have access to a website that we can access every bit of information. So you know who is here on a daily basis, who's going to be here 80% of the time. We just saw a presentation from one company, we're looking at others, they do the same thing, so that we can get all that information that can help us drive more accurate information, so at the touch of a button, we can tell you how children are doing of our longitudinal data and whether or not your point, that transient group is helping us and what we can do to help them as they enter into our system.
Right, and then there were a few slides, in particular 10, 13, 14, 16, that were kind of shocking. That was where you had maybe more than 30 kids or more than 50% of the kids that needed some support or strong support. I guess, was there, and maybe it has to be like a comparison between the curriculum, and I'm gonna look at the slide 35 for the different curriculum phases, but it seems like algebra is like a very weak portion, obviously, for our district. And to have to go to 50% or more needing some or strong support is pretty scary, actually. So if there's any way that we could safeguard those students or support them so that, it doesn't continue, because it was on a downward trend. And I don't know, again, if it makes sense to look at the curriculum to see if something changed for those students when they were younger, that maybe there was a breakdown in some of those concepts, so that we can.
We're going to report in January. One of the things we do see is that it's specifically in the middle school. Not a lot in this district, about 80 or 90% of the students take algebra in 8th grade. Very few districts in Bergen County do that. They usually do a math 8. And then that prepares them for success. What we're seeing is the students who are taking the algebra are not doing well, performing well. And sometimes it's a matter of learning, right? And the mind grows when you're ready to grow. And pushing algebra and some of the advanced math for students who are just not ready can hurt them later, and that's why we're seeing those scores. So when we look at the algebra scores over the longitudinal data from 15, 16 to 18, 19, I don't think more than 57% of the students have ever passed the algebra in 8th grade. And there were some years that were 48%. So that
Is that after Common Core came into existence, though, or is that prior?
Well, it's after Common Core, but the data reflects that we need to, sometimes the mind is, Piaget, the philosophy of education says you need to be ready for it. And some of forcing kids to take something they're not ready for is A, not good for their emotional development, and B, it's not good for their academic development. So if we're putting them behind the 8 ball in 8th grade, and then what do we expect for them in 9th grade? But those scores are quite low when we look at why we're forcing kids to take something that they're not ready for. And if you do that, then you have to have the supports in place. So that's the other part of it. So when we talk about how we're going to also expand our high school and offer more opportunities, we have to have supports in place so that when they take those opportunities, there's a place where they can get assistance without having to regress again, both socially and emotionally, by saying, I can't do this, but also academically. So we're looking all of that, and that's our game plan for January to present here. And I hope everybody tunes in when we start to do that, because we are developing. As much time as we put into this presentation with the data, we have a bigger presentation of a solution, of an action plan to get all of our students successful, from our pre-K kids before they even get here, all the way through 12th grade and beyond. So,
thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. Please. Great job. Great job. Thank you for all your help. Appreciate it. Ms. Richter?
Thank you, Superintendent Kravitz, for the presentation of your report. Do we have any committee reports? Julie?
So the curriculum committee met, and we had a very long meeting and discussed several things, including 3 additional courses that are being added to the Fort Lee High School, which are Foundations in Art, Contemporary Asian Politics and Culture, and AP Statistics. We also discussed different academies. Do you want me to go through them, or are you gonna?
I'll do that in January.
You'll do that in January, okay. We discussed the different, possible academic programs that we're bringing to the high school. We also discussed college prep services for the SAT, ACT, and AP prep. Talked about maybe an application boot camp that was going to be starting maybe this summer before senior year to help people kind of navigate through the college application process, help them write the college essay and college prep workshops. After school programs were discussed at length. we discussed homework clubs, possible homework clubs, high school students possibly tutoring, undergraduate students, and after-school learning, which I think Mr. Kravitz will get more into, the virtual learning lab that we're going to be offering now for all grades. And also, as well as ELA and math remediation based on some of the scores. We also discussed some staffing challenges, and then a lot of the data was presented, and we discussed ways in which we could possibly raise the scores of the exams. So like you just went through the teacher conventions and extra help and for the kids. So I think it was a very productive meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other committee reports? Do any members of the board have questions or comments on tonight's agenda or any other topic?
I wanted to say congratulations to Esther on silver. This is her last meeting. And I was just saying how even though we're not like best friends, I'm really gonna miss you because I look over and I feel like I see the voice of reason, and I feel like honestly I've learned so much from you even in like the short time, and I just really respect you and everything you've done, and I really do appreciate you. So thank you for kind of always being there if I needed something or called you, and I really do appreciate you, and I wish you only continued success and good health for you and your family. Thank you so much.
So, Ms. Silver, actually, I'm going to do it on new business, but I guess. So I guess this is the appropriate time to say to Esther Hahn Silver, the Fort Lee Board of Education thanks you for your many years of service to the students of Fort Lee. Your dedication and commitment is truly appreciated, and we honor you for your outstanding contributions to the Fort Lee School District, dated December 2020.
Yeah, because we want to take pictures.
Okay, so that will take a picture.
Okay, well, wait, I have to go again. Candy's already done. Okay, I only have one wing, so you have to wait. Wait.
When a board member says I want one alone, then I get the hint.
Wait. Come on.
Totally.
Okay.
Oh, Esther, I'm very sorry that I couldn't be there in person tonight. My family had plans that were made long ago. But I want to echo, Juline's comments and Robert's, and you led the district during one of our most difficult times during COVID, and where the meetings went very late at night and people were very cemented in their positions, and you did it, with a very steady hand and calm, and you've always been the consummate professional on the board. You've always put the children of the Fort Lee School District as the #1 priority and based your decisions on that. And, I too, if I wasn't able to thoroughly look through an agenda, I didn't feel like something horrible was going to happen, because I always knew you had looked through it even more thoroughly than I would have. And so for that, I'm really going to miss you. But, you've been a very dedicated board member, and, you took all of the professional development that's offered very seriously. And I think whatever the highest achievement for NJSBA, whether it's certified board member, a master board member, you achieved it, and it was well earned. And I am definitely going to miss your presence and contributions, especially when we start to negotiate, because that was kind of one of your fortes and you seemed encyclopedic about it all. And I wish you the best, and you will be very much missed on the Fort Lee Board of Education.
So
Thank you, Paula.
I want to say how much you're going to be missed. Esther and I were first elected along with Candy back in 2013, and David, back in 2013, and we were elected to change the board and change the way the district is going. I think we did exactly what we were hired to do. We had been on many committees together, personnel, policy, negotiation, I mean, you name it, it was down the line. What I loved about Esther and being on the policy committee was Esther was unbelievable. She was unbelievable. She used to put little tags on every page of policy, on every page, like little tiny postums, and go through every policy. And I would say, okay, so what are we doing with this? How are you seeing this? What's the future that you're seeing with this policy? The same with personnel, is the same thing. It began from soup to nuts with Esther. I trusted her immensely, although there were times.
to blow her candles because.
Because Mike had to light it, so. I just want to say that, blow,
You take your mask off and blow them out.
just blow.
She wants my germs all over the cake.
It's a fire.
Oh, she doesn't want the job, no, only Esther would do this.
No, I agree with her.
I agree, but I'm saying only Esther would have thought that.
Eat after it.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
We're shaking like we should have done after the meeting. Okay.
Okay,
Ms. Morrell.
Mike, I just want to say that she's gonna be sorely missed. Her wisdom is definitely gonna be sorely missed. Her way of seeing things in a different light is going to be missed. And although there were times that we agreed to disagree, Esther is definitely a friend. And I'm gonna miss her wisdom, and I'm definitely gonna be calling you. So, just letting you know, the calls are not stopping.
My goodness, right. I'll be a little shorter. I have to say that Esther and I have become friends through being on the board, because of her intelligence and her guidance and her even keel, keeping us there. We've become very good friends, shared a lot of funny stories, shared a lot of scary stories, getting through things and worrying about things and trying to do the right thing, but you were always there to do that. And I really respect you, and I will miss you truly, and I really will miss working with you.
Esther, you want to say something?
I don't know, maybe I'll save it for new
Yeah, save it
business
for
at
new
the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be better. But
Oh, Esther, there is a cake there for you and coffee and everything.
It did that.
We're gonna throw it out.
Yeah, cake is
Oh,
out.
not good.
We're gonna save it to eat later. after we finish.
When you're in college.
But going back, I actually did have questions on the agenda. Let's steer it back to the meeting.
Let's go back to the COVID meeting, we're gonna be here until like 2 in the morning, which is fine.
Going back, for 8F and 9F, I just want to clarify the carryover, that's kind of left over from last year, we're kind of adding it to this year's. Correct. Okay, that's what carryover means?
Carry over our funds that we did not use in the previous year that the federal government allows us to carry over and allocate income.
The next question, 10F is blank. So how can we vote on something that is blank? The SAT one.
We actually never ended up getting information on that.
It shouldn't be.
Yay, Esther.
And actually, could I ask on 11F as well, it says that we received proposals, do we know how many proposals we received at all for 11F?
For 11F, we received 3 proposals, and for 10F, we received 2.
And I guess, was it a public notification that went out, or how was that?
Yes.
Okay.
The RFP is actually on the website.
And still is there, if you'd like to take a look at it. The responses we received on December 8th, that was the due date, and that those proposals were distributed to Mr. Kravitz and Ms. Baker for review.
Thank you.
Do we have numbers for 10F, or do we have to?
We have a vendor for 10F. We do. So the vendor for 10F is Command Education. And I believe the vendor for 11F is there, Sylvan Learning Center.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just 10F that's missing the vendor.
And cost not to exceed.
The cost not to exceed $175,000. And we are using grant funding for both of those resolutions.
And then I guess later we'll get more information about the programs. I know, Diane and I had a conversation and I got a little bit of information.
I can speak to them briefly. So we went out for an RFP, or request for proposal. That's what RFP stands for, if anybody doesn't know. Because when you spend a certain amount of money, anything that exceeds $44,000, you have to go out for an RFP. And so we received, the public advertisement was completed, we received proposals from different vendors. One is for 10F, is for SAT tutoring services, SAT and ACT tutoring services, as well as college preparation services in the form of workshops for students, for high school students in all grade levels to receive college prep workshops across a variety of topics. The SAT tutoring services is going to be offered to 10th and 11th graders. We are going to be able to provide that to about 150 students. It will involve a 20 session course of a very structured curriculum to occur over 2 days per week. Those.
How many students? Did you say 10?
150 students. 150 students. That's okay. I might have been speaking too quickly. Those services will be provided virtually. So that's 10F. 11F is to offer students in grades 3 through 8, students that are eligible for Title I services, to offer them tutoring services for the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment. So that's one of the things that's directly related to the data that we presented tonight. That's one of the steps in our action plan, in order to offer them supplemental assistance outside the scope of the school day.
Any other questions?
Just a reminder, guys, I got a couple of emails during the course of the meeting about masks, that they see some board members without masks. So just as a reminder to wear our masks during the meeting. That's the beauty of not being in the room right now.
Any other questions?
The only other addition is 4B. Ms. Richter, 4B is a walk-in. It reads as follows: therefore be it resolved that the Fort Lee Board of Education hereby affirms HIV investigation NS-9 as reported.
Cool. Okay, may I have a motion to open the floor to the public?
Motion.
Second, Rama.
Motion Morel, second Rongo, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? We will hear first from any members of the public that are physically located at the cafetorium tonight. Then we will take questions and comments from those participating remotely. For remote public participants, please select the raise hand button in the upper left corner. Board Secretary Keisha Taylor will recognize each community member in the order of the raised hands by lowering the hand and unmuting the microphone if muted. Please then state your name and home address for the record and begin your comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have any members of the public here in the cafetorium tonight who wish to make a public comment? If so, please approach the podium.
Hi, this is Victoria Kim. I live at 2090 McKay Avenue. Thank you everyone for worrying about me last daily meeting. I filed a police report. About the stalking and intimidation incident that I had before last FLBOE meeting, and I hope everyone understands that filing tenure charges is very difficult and long process. And especially for this particular one, many parents need to attend arbitration hearings later on to witness. So it is important that parents need to stay calm and respect each other. Today, I would like to continue to let public know that how much this matter is serious. The statement of tenure charges was filed on September 30th, and it is available to public upon request. And according to the video surveillance and 22 teachers and staff interviews, over 30% students, 176 students in total, lost at least 35 minutes instruction time. 138 students were left with unlicensed staff, including custodian, so they were not able to respond as trained in case of the emergency situation. 4 teachers canceled or rescheduled special classes. At least 9 teachers who were supposed to help students with disabilities had to leave students with assignments. 19 IEP students who need special services legally were affected. Nurse was not available to offer medical emergency treatment in the nurse office. So I hope everyone recognized how serious it was. And since June 22nd, about 75,000 salary was paid for 5 months from our taxes so far. As far as we know, based on the legal advice that I received, once her tenure charges are certified, Board of Education can put her suspension without pay for 120 days until the arbitration process ongoing. And I don't see any status change of the principal on today's agenda, so I hope to see Board of Education follow up diligently and quickly so that we can use our tax dollars on better area for our children. I hope this is my last comment on this whole agenda. Lastly, I thank you, Ms. Silver, for your dedication and time. For the last 3 years, I've seen you at every board meeting and you've been amazing and you will be missed. Thank you. I came just for you today in person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Tanya Byers-King and I live at 275 Tom Hunter Road. I have a question on, first of all, thank you all. I know this is not easy and it's a lot of time away from your family and I appreciate it. It's not easy. Esther, God bless you for enduring the torture for all of those years. And best of luck. On 10F, the 150 students that will be offered the course, how will those students be chosen?
So at this time, we're first approving the proposal. When you go through an RFP process, you have to be careful with how much communication you have with the vendor. So if this moves forward, we will be having more conversations around the logistics.
Okay. Some people had seen it on the agenda and asked me about it, so that I wanted to bring that up. In regards to what was just said by the parent before me, I'm not a threat to anyone. Her child was not with her when I spoke to her in the parking lot of Lemoyne Avenue that I go to every single day, 5 times a day. So, and in regards to Mrs. Giacomelli, I worked with her for 9 years. I have nothing but the utmost respect for her, and I have seen her help child after child. I have never seen a child endangerment issue. I have read the tenure charges back, front, up, down, center twice. I have looked at all 498 pages of the exhibits, and I think that those could be any administrator that is in this district. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Doris Young, and I live at 510 North Avenue.
Could you just speak into the microphone, please?
Yes, hi. My name is Doris Young, currently living at 510 North Avenue. I'm also the president of KPAC, the Korean Parent Advisory Council. I'm here also for Esther. To thank her for her devotion for 9 years, 1 year short of a decade on the BOE. We never got to know each other, but I've constantly seen you devoting your time and care. We wish you all the best. Next. It was a very big surprise to learn about the Korean parents' mistreatment, assault, abuse by the principal, and the PTA unfair election at School 1 in June this year. How parents have suffered all along and held back due to repercussions, and finally breaking the silence by our brave parents. It broke our hearts to hear of this nightmare. Your care and attention to this matter would be appreciated to go above and beyond to make sure everyone is taken care of so that this will never happen again in the future. We as parents in this district should show respect to everyone and should choose love and peace instead of dislike and hatred to one another. There was a reported incident. This kind of unwanted behavior that violate norms or appropriate conduct that will result in emotional harm to the family should not be tolerated. We have waited patiently for the Board of Education justification of certifying the tenure charges of Ms. Giacomelli and would appreciate your update on this matter. We were also informed that Ms. Giacomelli is currently paid while on suspension and seek to request for suspension without pay for 120 days to save the district fund. Can you let me know how we can proceed on this request? Thank you.
My name is Cedric Berg. I live at 243 Slocum Way in Fort Lee. I wanted to bring again my support to Ms. Giacomelli. I've had 3 of my children in her school. 3 of my children in her school. Many a morning I dropped off my kids there. Many an afternoon I picked them up. I have to say to think that Ms. Giacomelli would never endanger any of the children with her scares, particularly misrepresenting her character. I do think we'll have to be here again. I'm here because when I look at the other meetings that have been, I see not a lot of people I've seen again and again coming back to this story of Ms. Giacomelli, At first, it was an accusation of racism, it was an accusation of bullying, intimidation. Now this is basically clear. Now we're moving to, we need to have children because as far as I understand, during 30 minutes, in order to realize the election of which he was accused of not doing properly, there were some parents that were absent some teachers that were absent from there. I think it's time to stop. I think as my other parents were just saying, right, we spent a lot of money, we're spending a lot of money, we're spending a lot of our taxpayer money on this issue. And more importantly, there is something that's happening now in Fort Lee, which I really, really don't like. I feel very uncomfortable with. There never was different groups of people, and now we've just been told we're Korean American on one side and the others on the other side, right? That's not the way it should be. Definitely not. We have one of the great things about our school district is the great diversity. There's in one line, I remember standing in line at the school, there's 6, 7, 8 languages being spoken by the children and their parents there. That's a wonderful thing. Our kids get such diversity and such knowledge from that. We really do not want to start separating into categories. To finish, I'd like to say I hope that we can really get past this. And I give my full support to Commissioner McNally and to reinstate her as soon as this can be clear, because I think she still has a lot to bring to this district. Thank you.
Hola, my wife, Cordelia Segura. I live in 243 Slocum Way. Again, I came here a couple of months ago to express my support to Mrs. Giacomelli. I think this should have been sorted by now. And I would say with no fear, because I think this is getting out of hand. All of this started in one PTA election meeting in school number 1. A mom didn't get elected president, not once, but twice. The outcome of an election should be respected, is democracy. Instead, this mom throws the biggest tantrum. She is hurt, she feels humiliated, and she wants to be president. No matter what it takes, no matter what the consequences. Ms. Giacomelli gets suspended. She was clear of some of the accusations, but new ones come on her. And what worries me, because of this happening, we're sending a wrong message to our teachers, principals, custodians, the moms who help feeding our kids every day. We're telling them, be afraid, because you could be next. You could be accused of anything, and it doesn't matter if you get cleared. Something else will follow you. That is very sad. That should not be the message. The message, more than ever, because of what we have been going through, and the excellent job they've been doing, is thank you, thank you, thank you to every single one of them. First one, Giacomelli. She did an amazing job during COVID. And I would say, as my husband said as well, this community is getting divided. And we have to be careful with that, because it's getting worse and worse. And this division is getting fed by lies and by hate. And we have to stop this. And I would end up by saying, a good leader is somebody that is respected, not somebody that is feared. Thank you very much. Whoever wants to be on.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Happy holidays to all of you, to your families.
Thank you.
I know it's been a very up and down year for all of us. What I would like to start with, I just want to really support what the gentleman said in terms of, my name is Steve Lewis, I'm sorry, 210 River Muse Lane, everywhere. My daughter goes to middle school. Middle school here, and Ms. Giacomelli was her teacher in school. So I want to just really just kind of like piggyback off what the gentleman said. I mean, everything seems to be so divided. If we could just take our titles off a moment and look at ourselves as parents, and then much of us are coming from, my parents are immigrants. We come from a different country. And I'm pretty sure Fort Lee, such a melting pot of diversity, we've come from different parts of this world. But we've come to America. Fort Lee played a major historical role. I love history. Former teacher myself. And now I see that the opportunity for everybody is a melting pot. And before this meeting, we pledge allegiance to the Republic, right? You have a principal, Ms. Giacomelli, comes from Italian background. She read, every one of us come from different backgrounds. But the one thing I would say is that my child, I would lead with her. We entrust her with a public position, but I would entrust her with a private position of watching my daughter, being there for a day or two or whatever. That's how much I trust her on a private level, because she has really done a lot for me as a person, my daughter, and she's been there for me in many ways. So back to my point about history and all of this great stuff about America, and now we come down to here. And it's great that we can have different points of view. That's what America is, to be able to speak your voice and, but to get to the level now where accusations can become fact and maybe hurt a woman that has fought for our children for 25 years in this school, in this district, as a leader, I think is so anti-American. It's such a removal from where we've come from as a country. And I'm gonna wrap up. Ms. Giacomelli is an awesome person, awesome educator, and she stands for a lot of those beliefs that this country was founded on. And I hope that you guys uphold those oaths that you signed to do the right thing for her. She has done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong to me, nothing wrong to my family. And I hope that we can heal and move on and really do the right thing for her and our children.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor, are there raised hands?
There are. Joe, I am promoting you to panelist. Please feel free to share your video and your comment. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Joe? I'm trying to promote you, Joe. It seems to be.
I'm fine.
Jason, if you're out there, if you can assist, I am promoting and it doesn't seem to be being executed.
Amar, do you have any?
Can you get aloud exalts?
Yes, I can. One moment, please, Jason, is it been troubleshoot? I apologize. Jason, perhaps we can just use allow to talk. Let's see if that will work. Correct. Joe, can you speak? Can you hear us? We selected allow to talk. We're having problems
It looks like you got the mute button
promoting
on.
to panelists.
It's muted, it looks like Lakeisha.
Hi, Keisha, did you call me?
Hi, Howard.
Hi,
Nobody ever.
Was your hand raised, Howard?
yes, my hand was raised.
Wonderful. We've got 3 minutes. We're gonna see if we can promote others, but feel free to state your name and address and
Okay.
share your comment. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Howard Lipoff. My address is 161 Main Street in Little Falls, New Jersey. And I'm a teacher in the school you're in Lewis F. Cole Intermediate School. And I am the treasurer of the Fort Lee Education Association. I have a question about 10F and 11F. I have several questions. My main question is, why is this not being done through the district? Why is the board choosing to go to outside vendors? Who is Command Education? I've never heard of them. I've heard of Sylvan Learning Center, of course. They're quite well known. Who would teach the classes? Are they going to be people who are certified teachers in the state of New Jersey? And looking at this, it's for the test formerly known as PARC and for SAT and I think ACT. And is it now the policy of the Fort Lee School District that we will be spending money that came in to teach for test? Is that now our policy to focus on test taking skills? And also there's the ESSER grant. What does ESSER stand for? So thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing the answers to all those questions I had.
Hi, Howard. It's Diane Baker. I will take your questions. So ESSER stands for the Elementary and Secondary Emergency Relief Fund. That is the ESSER grant. Is a federal grant that was funded to school districts in response to COVID-19. So that's that question. The second reason, why are we, for the NJSLA tutoring and SAT prep, why are we going outside? So I'm gonna answer that for each of the resolutions separately. So for the NJSLA tutoring for Title I students, when we use Title I funds, That means that we have to offer those students something above and beyond what we're currently offering any other student in the district, a non-Title I eligible student. And because we are in the process of offering after-school tutoring to other students that are not Title I eligible, we can't do the same thing for Title I. So we can't offer them those same tutoring services because it's actually considered necessarily not above and beyond. So because of that, we're offering something a little bit more different and customized for Title I students this year while we have these other ESSER funds. Secondly, for SAT, ACT tutoring outside the scope of the school day, Command Education is a very reputable organization that specializes. They are actually very trained in college preparation programs. They specialize in these areas, and their tutors are all Ivy League graduates. You can actually look them up online. And then the final reason too is that, we have posted for after-school programs to attract teachers to work them. And while we do have applicants, we don't necessarily have enough at this time to run our after-school programs in all of our school buildings. So that was also the other reason why we decided to go with outside organizations for these two particular programs.
Will it be done in the school, Diane?
No, at this time it's not going to be done in school. The SAT, ACT prep is going, and the college preparation services are going to be offered virtually. And then for the NJSLA tutoring through Sylvan, parents will be able to schedule the tutoring services for their children at Sylvan Learning Center.
And the district reimburses the parents, or it's already gets paid for?
We won't be prepaying services, so we will pay for the services as they're provided.
Okay, I think that answers. Who will? Are the people teaching certified in the state of New Jersey? Not necessarily, correct?
It really depends on the service. So some in Huntington, Navy, Sylvan Learning. For Command Education, the same thing. They're SAT prep, so they're not certified by the state, some may be. But the RFP was done for, are you qualified, and is your company able to perform tutoring in NJSLA? And for the other one, for SAT and ACT prep.
And the final question for you, Mr. Kravitz, is this now the district's concept to prioritize teaching to the test?
No, this is not actually teaching to the test. It was really there are some strands in the test that that are showing weaknesses, as we just presented in our data. And again, this is a lot of the students in the NJSLA tutoring. As Ms. Baker has alluded to, for Title I funds, it has to be something beyond the normal scope that we offer any other student. So we can offer students, and we're looking to offer every student opportunities with tutoring, but it has to be something beyond that. And that's the requirement for Title I. And this is something we thought that could help those specifically to those students who are Title Is who are having difficulty performing and socioeconomically disadvantaged.
Thank you very much, you and Ms. Baker, for answering my questions.
Thank you.
Okay, Joe, I am going to attempt to promote you to panelist again. I promoted you to panelist. Please feel free to share your video and your comment. You have 3 minutes. Joe? Agam, I'm going to attempt to promote you to panelist. Please feel free to share your video and your comment.
Hi, can everyone?
You have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Agam.
Hi, my name is Agam Kathari, and my address is 2100 Linwood Avenue, Fort Lee, New Jersey. So recently, for the past couple months, we have been trying to approve a club called DECA, which is known as Distributive Education Clubs of America. And we have been trying to promote this since October. So we had recently sent in a proposal letter as well as a list of interested members for the club. And we have gotten no response in terms of how the approval process works because we've met all the criteria. And we at Fort Lee High School, a lot of students are interested in actually pursuing this club. So we are wondering how long it takes, because there are a lot of competitions that we would like to go to, but we are unable to because the club is not official or approved by the Board of Education. So my question was, how long would it take? Because we were told by our Fort Lee High School that it would be in the agenda for this board of meeting, but it just didn't make it on the list.
So if you just give me 1 second, I will point you to the direction of the policy that specifically explains how clubs, if they are not in existence, how to create a club. And if they are, then as we know, so it's policy 2430. If you go to the Fort Lee, FLBOE.com website, look up policy 2430 and then regulation 2430. It tells you exactly what the process is to create a club if there has not been a club. As far as the Board of Education and my office, we have not received anything regarding this. I would best practice is always contact the advisor if you have an advisor. If not, go to your building principal and they will contact us. But there is a process. If it's a new club or if it's existing, we just ask every year for the same. I believe DECA has been approved, as a club in the past. If not, there's a process. Just follow that process and you'll be fine.
So if we do follow the process, how long would it take for the club to be approved?
So it outlines the exact steps that we take. There has to be a written proposal that needs to be submitted to your building principal. This will include the name and the purpose. There are 10 things that have to be submitted. After that, if it's approved, we would come to the Board of Education, and there has to be, and it tells you all of the guidelines. So it's probably about a month and a half.
Okay, thank you so much.
Again, policy 2430.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Victoria, 5 Victoria Place. I'm promoting you to panelists. Please feel free to share your video and your comment. You have 3 minutes.
Hi everyone, 5 Victoria Place, Margarita Vigodner. So I just wanted to really thank the district for today's presentation. I think it was great. I was so happy to hear about academics, not COVID or travel restrictions. I think it was very important to collect, the entire data, a lot of work. So I was very impressed. So really, statistics is very important to identify gaps. And I think that's what happened. Like there were some gaps that we identified. So really good job to the district and to superintendents. I was very impressed with that. And I also was very happy to hear about different, new college prep programs and new like AP classes. That's all great. My only question is like, extra help after school and college prep is all important. But really what is very important is in-class quality of teaching, because most of the day, most of the times, our children are in school, right? So let's say, I don't know, my son now is in 8th grade. And so the math teacher is amazing, Ms. Kumar. I don't know what happens in the high school, but he will be there for 4 years. So let's say if the level of teaching of math, and I actually noticed that the graduation level of math is not great, even though there are some AP classes. So if the level of teaching, let's say, I don't know, but just from like, proficiency wasn't 0.5% for the New Jersey state level, I think 50%. But you see, if, for example, they don't study at very high level for years, and, bringing college prep or bringing IP classes will not help. So my question is actually maybe to the superintendent, how is the quality of in-class teaching being assessed? How can you know what happens actually in the class? How do you know that a certain teacher is at the level, that is acceptable, today, and so my question is, what tools do you use to assess in-class teaching? Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question on academics. It's great. So we evaluate teachers every year, every building principal, every building administrator. will evaluate a teacher. In addition to that, there are student growth percentiles and student growth objectives that every teacher, student growth objectives are required to create, and then track them and make sure that they've met their goals. The percentiles are based on following the students and their cohorts and how they're progressing on an annual basis. How do we do that? The more data we start to collect and then warehouse and start to absorb that data and start to look at the granular information regarding how is a student doing in that class, because I cannot disagree with you. I agree with you 100%. The most effective way for children to be educated is in the classroom, because that's who their teacher is every day. The data suggests when you tutor someone, you will get a 5 to 10% boost, and that's it. That's it, and it's only a one-time boost. It's not long-lasting, because the gaps continue. So, constantly offering professional development, constantly offering, making sure evaluations are done in a timely manner, realistic, trying to push the envelope so that everyone is on board with the same expectation of what needs to get done in the classroom is the goal that I've set, and I've spoken with my administrators, and we meet regularly, and we'll meet again tomorrow. But that's what we want to see. We want to see top-notch master teachers in every classroom, and I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure it's possible. It just takes time, and it's a lot of professional development, and we're working toward that. And kudos to all the teachers. Right now, I think the teachers are, there's a lot of things happening in our schools that are taking away from academics, and I'm sorry for that. Teachers are burning out. Our nurses are burning out. They're working a lot on contact tracing. Our administrators are working a lot. Custodians, everyone is working, and not a lot of talk about academics, and that's what we're here for. And that's what we want to shift that conversation to academics. So thank you for reiterating that point.
Thank you so much. Good luck. Thank you.
Joe, I'm sorry, I'm unable to promote you, Joe. Maybe you should try logging off and logging back on, Joe. Francis, I am promoting you to panelist. Please feel free to share your video and your comment. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Francis?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. My name is Frances Nesterson. I reside at Inwood Terrace in Fort Lee. Just because I think I missed it with, it was hard to hear, and I don't think it was communicated clearly, the resolution to the HIB. Just so for clarification, was the original decision upheld or was the appeal affirmed? It was hard to make out what the actual outcome was.
The walk-in resolution reads as follows: therefore be it resolved that the Fort Lee Board of Education hereby affirms HIB investigation MS-9 as reported.
So basically the decision stands as was.
The board has not voted as yet.
Oh, you have not voted as yet?
Correct.
Oh, okay. I thought that when you spoke about it that you had already voted for it. I thought the decision would be said tonight.
The board has not voted on any items as yet. Voting takes place after public comment.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. I apologize for the interruption then.
Thank you. Mr. Asso, I'm promoting you to panelist. Please feel free to share your video and your comment. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Mr. Asso.
Everybody hear me? What's up, everyone? What's up? I'm sorry I'm down in the basement. I just finished with my son hitting. So I just wanted to, you guys are running long. So I just wanted to say a couple things. First, I came on originally for tonight for Esther. Esther, I want to personally thank you for what you have done for me when I was on that Board of Ed. You're like my concierge, one of them. And, you've been through the wars and you've been through it, and just, just from I want to say thank you for everything you've done to our Board of Education and for our town. I just wanted to come out and say that because Esther meant a lot to me when I was on that board. So I want to thank her personally for that. That's how I am. That's how I roll. My next question regarding Ro Giacomelli, she's a friend of mine, so I'm going to disclose that. I've known her a long time. She would never, ever put children's lives in danger. Let's be real, okay? And look how it all started and how it's now mushroomed into this. And I just want you all to understand something. At the beginning of this year in September, there was a massive teacher shortage and a massive substitute teacher shortage. And there were classes inside school districts within this state and also through the New York City School District that had unlicensed personnel supervising children in classrooms. Because that was early on, and it was more than just 30 minutes or 45 minutes. It was for several days. So we have to look at that when you take and do that final decision on Ro Giacomelli. She's a fantastic administrator. And I'm saying this because she's a friend of mine. You know, nothing else. And you just have to look at that. They have been unlicensed personnel in pretty much a lot of the school districts in this state with no ramifications. The New York City School District, same thing. And those children were not deemed in any danger. All right, I'm going to keep it short. Esther, again, thank you on the bottom of my heart for what you've done for me when I sat in those 3 years there. You were one of my concierges. Peace, love you all.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And Paula, Happy Festivus, dear.
Trying to get some skiing in, Mickey.
Peace out, love you all.
Bye, Mickey. Happy holiday.
You too all.
Christina Suh, I'm promoting you to panelist. Please feel free to share your video and your comment. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, this is Christina Suh. I just wanted to first speak about what Mr. Osso just said about the beginning of the school year, of how there was teacher shortage and students were left with unlicensed professionals. I want to clarify, there's a difference here, and the reason why I'm bringing this up again, and I'm happy to explain for the nth time, I was that initial parent who filed a complaint. Victoria was another parent. But in addition to all of us, I know that's not my 3 minutes. In addition to for starting from 2012, 2015, 2017, 2020, she was warned of her unprofessional and abusive, inappropriate actions and behaviors. As of September of 22nd, we had 42 parents and 34 teachers who came out and who were interviewed. Mr. Osso, there's a difference. When there's a shortage because we cannot control the situation, that's one thing. But Mrs. Giacomelli brought these teachers and left the students unattended because she didn't want the Asian parents to vote. And I also want to address to what other parents came out today, and in terms of how we're trying to divide the school. They want diversity. I want diversity too. I want to be included. I was that parent who was selected and picked out so that I couldn't vote when I went to the PTA election meeting. But other parents were able to vote. I just want an equal fair share. So why are victims being victimized again? I am not making a big stink because I'm trying to pinpoint out a good, upstanding woman doing her great job for years and years. Great, I'm sure she did great things for other people, but I am saying me along with a bunch of other people who are coming out and making our claims, and me who came out and I was crucified in public with all these people making threats to me on Facebook and talking about me, yelling at me from their car. I'm the victim here too. I get to come out and express what happened to me and how I was treated. We have to be heard and we should be treated equally and fair. I'm not looking for a division. I just want to be included. Mrs. Giacomelli, if she did great things for great people, that's great. But I'm telling the Fort Lee community, please listen to us. We're not just disgruntled parents trying to, pinpoint at this one lady because our feelings are hurt. My feelings get hurt every single day. I'm not offended by that, but what she did was wrong. She handpicked selective parents and Asian parents, and she didn't allow us to vote when she allowed other groups of parents to vote. She did that, and she called the teachers to come and vote. this had nothing to do with the shortage of teaching. In fact, she brought the teachers in, leaving the students unattended for no academic or reasons for, for their well-being. Were they going, did anybody die? No. But it was at a professional contact? No. I just want the people to understand that we're not coming out here pointing fingers because we want this division, we want to be separated, we want to make this, Asians American versus non-Asians. No, we just want to be included. We just want to be treated fairly. That's all. And I just also wanted to say thank you, Miss Esther Han-Silver, for serving on the Board of Community, and best of luck to you. That's it.
Thank you. Stephanie, I'm promoting you to panelist. Please feel free to share your video and your comment. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Stephanie?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Okay, you could start it now. 1, Christina Saw, where do you live? This is Stephanie Maharis, Fort Lee, mother. Christina Saw gets on here, does not live in the district, obviously, since her feelings get hurt every single day of her life, as she just said, has a problem regulating her emotions and feelings. Victoria Kim.
Stephanie, can you address the board, please?
I am addressing the board. Where does she live, board? Are you going to ask her where she lives? You didn't ask her where she lives. Do you know where she lives?
She lived in Texas. She's previously identified her Texas.
Excuse me, Paula, what did you say?
She lives in Texas. She previously identified her address for the record.
Okay, so she moved. So she caused this problem and then she moved. And then she got the leader of the K-PAC to come in, the Korean PAC. Paula, is there a Korean PTA in the school?
Please address all your comments, and if they're.
I'm addressing the board.
We're not going to have a dialogue back and forth.
I'm asking you a question. Is there a Korean
And I'm
PTA?
not answering it until the end of your comments, Stephanie.
I'm not taking
3 minutes.
No, I'm not doing 3 minutes.
Please address the Board of Education and provide your comment. You have 3 minutes. Any responses will be addressed at the very end.
Excuse me? Who was that?
Comment to the Board of Education.
Who is speaking?
This is Francis Febres, Board Attorney. Please address your comments to the entire Board of Education.
Francis,
If there is a response, will be provided at the end. Thank you.
Okay, let's go backwards. Let's restart. Christina Saw does not live in New Jersey, started a problem mainly based around Korean parents. Then she had Victoria Kim, who's a 2-time loser, not just in the first election, from what I understand, but the second.
The purpose of the public comment is to address matters of concern to the Board of Education, not to slander individuals. Please be appropriate in your comments and provide information that is of relevant and important to the Board of Education. Please also be reminded that you're not insulated from liability because you're using the Board of Education as a platform. You're not going to insulate your comments and any liability that you may face as a result of your comments. Please be respectful or your comment will cease.
Francis, stop speaking over me.
I'm just clarifying the rules and expectations for public comments during public meetings. You are violating them.
Francis, stop violating my free speech.
Stephanie,
it's not your free speech to violate the rules of public
I will
comment.
drive to the school right now. This woman lost her election. You are harassing Mrs. Giacomelli. Mrs. Giacomelli is the finest principal in Fort Lee, hands down. Her students love her. The parents love her. The kids who were in her school love her. And you have disrupted what I'm trying to say, which is this is not about Koreans, Black, white, Spanish. That school is a mixed group of people who love their principal, and as well, she should be getting paid because these are erroneous, false charges, slanderous charges against a woman who dedicated her life to this school and is a bright shining principal who everyone loved except Miss Sa, who brought up these okay? And so don't tell me what I can speak about. These are parents like bullies. They are bullying a principal.
Thank you for your comment. Your time is up.
No, it wasn't. You broke up my time. The lawyer who wanted to speak over me. You are harassing a principal of our school. You are harming our students. You are doing this to the children at School One. No one else. By continuing with this fake allegation against a woman of such great stature.
Curly T, I'm promoting you to panelist. Please feel free to share your video and your comment. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Curly T.
Hi, I'm Pearly Tan. I live in 332 Lincoln Avenue, Fort Lee. Just wanted to address some of the comments here. Obviously, you know, some of the parents didn't read the investigation report. And I just wanted to say that the report is public. And if anyone is interested, feel free to reach out to me. You know where to find me at the board, at the Fort Lee Parents Group. So, you know, I mean, the facts are in the report. So there's nothing to argue about. So I just want to put it out there. It's there in public. If you want to read it, reach out to me. Thank you.
Joe, I'm going to try one more time to promote you to panelist. Please feel free to share your video and your comment. I apologize, Joe. Again, you can try to log off and log on. Ms. Richter, there are no other raised hands other than Mr. Joe, which I can't see.
Thank you. May I have a motion to close the floor to the public?
Motion.
Motion Morel, second on Silver.
Who's the applicant?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to resolutions. May I have a motion to approve items 1B through 3B?
Motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Walk on.
Yes, 4B, the walk on. So 1B through 4B. Motion.
Yeah, motion.
Kristen, can you just tell me what 4B is?
Yes.
4B is a walk-on that states, therefore be it resolved that the Fort Lee Board of Education hereby affirms HIV investigation MS-9 as reported.
Thank you.
So may I have a motion to approve items 1B through 4B?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Han Silver, second Rubino. Roll call, please.
Ms. Ramba.
Yes.
Mr. Urbino.
Yes.
Ms. Cho.
Yes.
Ms. Richter.
Yes.
Ms. Han Silver.
Yes.
Ms. Stasu.
Yes.
Ms. Curry.
Yes.
Ms. Morel.
Yes, on everything, I abstain on 4B.
So noted. Ms. Colback.
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to approve items 1B and G through 3B and G?
Motion.
Second Ramba.
Motion Han Silver, second Ramba. Roll call, please.
Ms. Cho.
Yes.
Ms. Ramba.
Yes.
Ms. Morel.
Yes.
Ms. Han Silver.
Yes.
Ms. Richter.
Yes, I'm abstaining from 2B and G, but yes on 1 and 3.
So noted. Ms. Stasu. Mr. Rubino.
Yes.
Ms. Curry.
Yes.
Ms. Colback.
Yes.
Ms. Stasu.
I'm voting no on 2B and D. Yes.
So noted. Motion carries. I called you second. You seconded the motion and then voted after Ms. Cho. Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve item 1 CUR through for CUR.
Yes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Han Silver, second Rubino. Roll call, please.
Ms. Rama,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
And this is for CUR, right? Yes.
Ms. Sassen,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Ms. Joe,
Yes.
Ms. Richter,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Han Silver,
Yes.
Ms. Colback.
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to approve items 1F through 12F?
Actually, I'm sorry to interject, but regarding 10F and 11F, I wanted to mention back in October of 2020, I had sent an email regarding the Fed tutors that I had met through the Atlantic Convention or the online through NJSBA. When I looked at their hourly rate online, it was actually $25 per hour, which is a substantial decrease as to what we've gotten. So I'd actually like to postpone 10F and 11 if it's possible. I don't know if that's okay, or we could just vote, I guess, but I don't know if it warrants more consideration.
So just to provide some information on that, we did work with them last year, and there were some challenges with their services.
Okay.
As far as just the communication and just the overall logistics behind communicating with the manager of the program, as well as the types of tutoring that they provided in comparison to what we're looking to offer our students in these two resolutions.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Are there other discussion items regarding 1 through 12F? Hearing none?
Did I did not get
No,
a
you
motion.
didn't get a motion.
I have a motion
Esther
to
didn't
approve
say it.
items 1F through 12F.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Han Silver, second Morel. Roll call, please.
Ms. Sassen,
Yes, I'm sorry, I made my P&D, I meant to say that.
I couldn't hear your comment. What was the comment?
I changed my vote because I was confused on 2P, B, and G to a yes.
Princess, I don't know technically, do we need to re-vote? or-
She's just revising her prior vote.
Understood, do we need to roll call or
No,
anything?
you can just note the revised, it doesn't alter the result.
So your vote, Ms. Sasu, is yes to all
Yes.
A and G items?
Sorry.
So noted, thank you. So we're roll calling 1 through 12F. Motion made by Ms. Han Silver, seconded by Ms. Morel. Ms. Sasu, I believe you said yes, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Morel?
Yes to everything and no to 2F and 3F.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Ms. Ramba?
Yes.
Ms. Han Silver?
Yes.
Mr. Rubino?
Yes.
Ms. Richter?
Yes.
Ms. Joe?
Yes, but no to 10F and 11F.
Ms. Colback?
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to approve items 1P through 12P?
Go ahead, Esther.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Han Silver, second Rhonda. Roll call, please.
Ms. Sasu?
Yes.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Ms. Han Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Ramba?
Yes.
Ms. Morel?
Yes.
Ms. Richter?
Yes.
Mr. Rubino?
Yes.
Ms. Joe?
Yes.
Ms. Colback?
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to approve item 1POL?
One more time, Esther.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Han Silver, second Morel. Roll call, please.
Ms. Morel?
Yes.
Ms. Ramba?
Yes.
Ms. Joe?
Yes.
Ms. Richter?
Yes.
Ms. Sasu?
Yes.
Ms. Han Silver?
Yes.
Mr. Rubino?
Yes.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Ms. Colback?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on, is there any old business? Seeing none, is there any new business?
I don't want to.
Legally, I cannot stay after 12:31.
I think we can make a resolution.
Yeah, no, the election commission.
I definitely think she should come down to the Atlantic City next time.
All right, so, I kind of wanted to say a few words. I will confess that, after 9 years being on the board, surprised I even lasted that long, it is hard to walk away from all of this. For those who are not sure why this is my last meeting, it was a difficult decision, but I did decide not to run again for another term. It was hard. I thoroughly enjoyed being on this board. Looking around, there are new people that came on, and there's some people that I've been on with for 9 years. And I definitely gave it my all. I went into this and I jumped, into the deep end of the pool. It's been 9 years of great experiences and accomplishments. I think one of the most rewarding parts of being on the board was really getting to know the people who work, behind the scenes in the district, and getting a better understanding of how much is done, for our students. I'm not going to go over everything that we've done over the last 9 years because we could go on forever. But I'm really proud of how much we accomplished over the last 9 years. And I know I can leave knowing that I'm definitely leaving the district in a better place than we were 9 years ago. And I can definitely, like Paula alluded to before, I can be confident that I will hold the record in Fort Lee for the longest meeting ever as a president, because I don't think anyone will ever want to top that 3 a.m. meeting, right? Hopefully.
That got bloody.
I was up. I just want to say, this is not the last you'll see of me. It sounds so ominous to say it like that, but I won't be sitting at the table up here with you, but I'm not giving up my voice. I'm still a parent with a student in the district. I'm still a resident in this town. I've lived here over 30 something years. I lost count, and this wasn't actually, I was telling someone the other day, this actually wasn't the first time that I've served this community. I don't know if Kristen knows, but a lot of people may not realize, but eons ago, I actually served on the Fort Lee Ambulance Corps. And actually, I look back and I think it was about 9 years. So maybe 9 is my lucky number. I served about 9 years on the Ambulance Corps. It seems like a lifetime ago, when I was younger, because I'm so old, but served about 9 years on the Ambulance Corps. I'm a life member there. So, who knows what the future holds, but I wish everybody the best of luck. It requires a certain fortitude, I think, to sit up at this table. So I think, keep at it and just know where your priorities are and you won't go wrong. So thank you to everybody.
Yeah, I just wanted to say 2 things real quickly. Number one, after reviewing the scores in the math for the 7th and 8th grade, I wanted to just shout out to the middle school math teachers, Miss Kada, Anissa McNulty, Ms. Scheinman, Mr. Choi, and Miss Kumar were absolutely fantastic. Fantastic, the best teachers my daughter has ever had and my son, and I'm really appreciative. I don't think the scores reflect what you teach and what you do, because I can speak from experience that you taught my children a lot. So thank you for that and all the teachers there. Secondly, I also want to say something else that I feel needs saying. It's in no means displays my feelings of what's going on at School One, but I just don't think we give teachers enough credit. For example, it's not okay for a child to be in a classroom without a teacher, especially my child, because my child has epilepsy. And these teachers are trained in an emergency situation to help him. So I'm not okay with anyone coming on saying that it's okay, because for my kid, it's not okay. And I just need to say that because these teachers go above and beyond for our children, and they cannot be replaced. Having nothing to do with the situation, but I need to say that. So that's all I really want to say. Thank you.
So the board will be convening back into executive session to continue discussing legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. The board will reconvene into public session where action may be taken. Approximately how long? We will reconvene into public session in approximately 1 hour, so 10:45 p.m.
10? What time is it?
It's 9:45.
Excuse me, but nobody answered my question when I called. You said you were going to answer my question.
I said any questions may be answered at the end of the public
Not
comment
maybe,
period.
I asked a question. Do we have a Korean PTA at our schools? Yes or no?
No comment.
So you have no comment as a board?
Ma'am, this is not a public comment section.
No, I did, I was online, you didn't
The public comment
answer it.
section was closed. Please.
But you didn't answer it. You said you were going to
Ma'am, you are not
answer it.
entitled to an answer. You're entitled
So
to
you
give a
answered
comment,
Mr.
and
Lipoff's
you
questions,
did
but not
until
mine.
you started violating the rules for
My
public
son was
comment.
left with Ian
Ma'am, I'm gonna ask
Wagner
you to
at
leave.
school one.
Ma'am,
I'm not going to leave.
we are not arguing. You're going to have to be escorted out of the
I
meeting.
asked a question, why isn't it answered?
Ma'am, do we have to call local law enforcement? You're going to be asked to leave the meeting now. Public comment is closed. You're
You
not
said you
entitled to
were
an
answering
answer.
my
Please
question.
respect the rules for the public meeting. This is a meeting of the
Right.
Board of Education, not yourself.
So she was not answering the question, or she is answering the question?
I am not answering your question. The meeting now is closed to public comment.
So they
Thank you.
answered Mr. Lipoff's questions. I just want to get this on the record. So they answered Mr. Lipoff's questions,
Ma'am,
but
last
not.
warning, public comment is closed. You will not receive any other response. Public
Okay, may I have a
comment is
motion to
closed.
go into executive session?
Motion.
Motion Morel, second Rombo.
Okay.
No more than an hour.
30 minutes instead. It has to be an
I
hour.
asked a
No,
question.
you can say
All
whatever
in
you want.
favor?
Let's say 30 minutes.
Let's not
You can
say
say
10.
All in favor?
Let's go with 30.
Aye.
No more than 30 minutes now? I don't know.
All in favor?
Mrs.
Well,
Dawes?
hold on.
You can say.
What is the time
Right, not enough.
30 minutes?
No.
30 minutes.
You said 10:46. We
We
have
got too much to talk about, no.
Can we just take a second? You can say.
You can always extend the amount of time. So if you want to do a 30-minute check-in,
Okay,
Okay,
but let's do
do
it.
that.
30-minute check.
so we will be reconvening into public session at in approximately 30 minutes, where action may be taken.
we may extend the time if needed.
Time may be extended as needed. Okay.
Okay.
Motion.
I just go home because I missed my
Consilver, second.
Yeah.
Motion. Rombo.
Francis, he's pulling in.
Do we need to vote? No.
So Paula, we're going to go back on to the other link, the executive link.
Hello, there are people.
Okay, welcome back. The board convened executive session for a second time to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters.
Where's Paula?
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Colback.
In case anyone's wondering, there are 53 attendees still with us.
55.
No, 53, minus the panel.
Okay, and Mr. Kravitz, I will turn it over to you to.
There are four resolutions to read. 13P is a walk-in resolution. Therefore be it resolved that the Fort Lee Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approves the following leave of absence for the 21-22 school year. Employee ID number 4626, suspended with pay from 12/13/21 to be determined. 14P, therefore be it resolved that the Fort Lee Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approves the following leave of absence for the 21-22 school year. Employee ID number 6507, suspended with pay. 15P, therefore be it resolved that the Fort Lee Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approves the following appointment for the 21-22 school year. Appointment of Jack DeNicolo as acting supervisor of buildings and grounds. Effective date 12/14/2021. And 16P, therefore be it resolved that the Fort Lee Board of Education, on the recommendation of the superintendent, approves the termination of employment for employee 6507, effective December 14, 2021, and paid 90 days salary in lieu of notice in accordance with the terms of the employment contract.
Thank you, Mr. Kravitz. May I have a motion to approve items 13P through 16P, the walk-on resolutions read by Mr. Kravitz?
No, we need a motion.
No, we need a motion.
Oh, I'm gonna make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion, Ms. Sasu, second, Ms. Ramba. Roll call, please.
Ms. Ramba, don't start with me, please. I'll pass right now.
Ms. Richter,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Han Silver,
Yes to 13P, 14P, 15P. I will abstain on 16P.
Are we voting on all of them?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Stassen,
Yes to all of them.
Ms. Morel,
You know what? I'm saying no to all of them.
Ms. Cho,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Pass.
Ms. Colback,
Yes to all, but I abstain on 15P.
Ms. Ramba,
Yes on 13, 14, and 15. I abstain on 16P also.
Rubino,
13, 14, 15, yes. 16, no.
Okay, I have 4 and Francis if you're counting as well.
Keisha, I didn't hear what you said.
I'm just asking for conference with Francis to confirm that she's counting as well, to confirm that when whether the motion passes or not.
3 noes or abstentions against 16P.
Right. I have that they all carry.
You
Do
what?
you agree?
Yeah, I have majority.
All motions pass, they all carry.
How did they pass? I want to know how it passed. He said no, I said no. He said no, I said no. She abstained, she abstained. How's that passing?
It's 4 is 5 of the people.
I want to do the count again.
I said 5 of the people.
Motion carries.
Can I make a motion to close the meeting?
May I have a motion to close, to adjourn the meeting?
To adjourn.
Motion, Stasu, second, Colback.
I was gonna say, motion to
All in
close.
favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Thank you all for staying with us this late. Have a good night.